everything. It is Saturday morning. And firstly, I just want to send my love to everyone in Florida, and I hope you're doing okay from the bottom of our hearts. We hope you're doing all right. Rob's actually going to be joining us from Florida any minute now. Right now we've got Ivan, but this is The Art of Rock, and we're going to talk about crazy, fantastic rock things. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge the Tongva people as being the traditional landowners of where I am now. That's Los Angeles, California. Secondly, please join us every Saturday here for The Art of Rock, because it is amazing, and amazingness is what we are trying to cultivate, at least, or something. Join us there. Here's Rob. Art of Rock, go get it. Yeah. Okay. Next, this is made possible with Angelspit's Patreon. Some of the supporters are here, and I thank you again. It can be as little as $3 a month, and you can help keep us going. So much of the content on there is free now, visibly, because I'm trying to make as much stuff, free, accessible to people, because I think we all need some help, hope, and encouragement right now. Carrie, welcome. I can see you in the chat. Some really cool things going on with me personally. I'm doing my first gig in 7 years. Is it 7 years? Ice Planet 9000, which is my ambient band, and Auto Dealer, who are from LA. We're doing an electronic ambient live music set on the 11th of December. There's a link to the whole bunch of it. It's at the DV Theater at the LGBT Center in Hollywood. It is 3.1 audio. It is 5.1. It's going to be fantastic. I'm so excited about this. Even if you want to support but you can't go, there's an option in the tickets where you can buy throw me $10, and we're grateful. We are really grateful. We're actually we're hiring the venue. We're taking all the risk for this. We're not turning up to a pub and getting a door deal. We're taking full risk for this. We're going to lose some money, but we got to make our music. The Industrial Incisionist playlist is another place where we got to make our music. It's a whole bunch of new bands that you haven't heard of or you need to hear about, and a whole bunch of old bands that you have heard of. It's on Spotify. Go listen to it. It's right there. In fact, I'm just going to really quickly slap this into the chat on Instagram. For more amazing non-stop music from the Bleeding Edge is MTV TV. And once we're done here, we're going to raid on over to MTV TV. If you've got a video, they will play it. If you've got, if you want to get involved, if you're looking for new music, you're going to find a new favorite band on MTV in the 2 hours that you watch it. I absolutely promise. It's fantastic. They've also got a Patreon going. It's critically important that we keep MTV going. Diana, it's good to see you in the chat. It's important we keep MTV going, because promoting your band is becoming impossible because there's so much noise. And I'm going to be talking about that today because I had a mind-blowing thing. I also want to do a big shout out to Raziel. He's not with us today, but Raziel is co-host from the band You Shriek. Like, that's industrial music royalty right there. And he is a bucket of knowledge with dreads and a cat. So although Rezi won't be joining us today, please check out his stuff, back his Patreon, and look after him. This is The Art of Rock. It's so good to see you guys. As I mentioned to Ivan, at some point, Frank is going to start screaming at me. And when he does, if you can pick up the ball and keep running with it, because damn, Frank, I want to talk about something really not popular today. I want to talk about influencing and being a social media influencer. Now, I know we hate this. I went to a conference. I don't know how much I can say about this conference because we're live, but I'm going to tell you all the stats. So I work for a theater in LA, and they had a conference there for influencers. They were charging $800 to $1,300 for a ticket. And they were an agency who was signing up young influencers to become brand ambassadors. There's another conversation there, which I will have off camera. Anyway, they were talking about some of the stats of influencers. And if you're familiar with this, I know, the most LA thing ever, really. Well, it was funny because they packed the theater. And if you do the sums, they pulled $1 million in tickets, over $1 million in tickets. and they wouldn't pay us overtime, bastards. Anyway, so
that's the most LA thing ever.
right, it is. So here, what's really interesting is that the people who were there were younger, predominantly female, and they were dressed to impress. And like I said, this is another conversation that we'll have off camera because it doesn't matter. I want to talk about you here. The great thing about being the crew is that on that day, we all got to sit in and watch because I was actually doing camera operating. And it was funny because during this incredible thing where they're dropping all this amazing knowledge, all these kids are on their phones. Like, it's like, what? Oh, so that's what privilege is. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, because I was camera operator, like I had one of the best seats in the house and I was watching and listening to what these people were saying and it blew my fucking mind. Part of it was a little bit cult inducting, but I don't want to talk about that. I'll talk about that off camera. What I want to talk about is becoming an influencer. And I tell you what, while we're here, I want to tell you, like, Alex is technically not an influencer. Sorry, this is not Alex who's here now. This is Alex Vulture Culture. I mean, I guess Alex is an influencer, but this is an influencer I damn love. This is Alex on who's Vulture Culture. If you're into synthesizers, you've got to watch Alex's live streams on Wednesday nights. They are amazing. Like, Alex knows about synth. I don't watch a lot of things and go, wow, dude, you really know about synths. You're going in deep here. But Alex goes deep. And he goes deep enough for me to go, okay, yeah, man, now you're talking about pulse width modulating something else. Like, that's sex to my ears. Anyway, so they were talking about, and hey, Adam, good to see you in the chat. Diana also. They were talking about in this conference about how influencers are going to be by 2035 will be the number they threw out there was huge. There's politics here that I don't want to get into because, as you know, I love me some politics that I can just stick in my teeth and let the blood flow. Not today, because we're talking about us now. They were talking about how, and they had spokespeople from known cosmetic brands. Like, you see them in cinemas when you go to Emax. There'll be an ad for this brand. When you go into a big department store, there they are lined in gold. And they had several of these brands there talking about how the market has changed from, instead of a brand going, oh, I'm going to spend $1,000, way more than that, $1,000 on actually, let's say $100 because it's a nice round number, $100 on a Facebook campaign. And I know through that, I will yield this many clicks. And the click rates, I think on Facebook, it's pretty awful. It's like 50 cents a click or something. And on Instagram, it's crap. On TikTok, it's awful. When you're watching it on television, it's kind of pointless. And radio, they just don't do it really anymore. They've been looking at the numbers and they're going, this is pointless. What they're doing is sending stuff to influencers. Some of them they are paying, some of them they are not paying, and some of the influencers have whenever you're watching YouTube, you're going to see, oh, I use this product, and if you click here /my name, you're going to get a 20% off offer. That's because the influencer, the YouTuber, is getting a cut on that. The really tragic thing is the cut is tiny, and the other tragic thing is most people who are going to make the purchasing decision don't buy it from there. They'll see it, then they'll get it from Amazon or they'll get it somewhere else. And that's what's really crappy. So if Alex ever does something and you go, wow, man, I want to buy this thing, Alex will have a link to Amazon, and that's his affiliate link. Help a brother out and buy it through that link. Yeah. And so I think influencing is a whole bunch of bullshit. But then they kept talking and they were saying how instead of it now being 50 cents per click, and whether that click actually yields a purchase or not, if an influencer who someone trusts says, I love this product, it's a sale. And that may have cost the brand nothing. And when you think about that, when a friend or family says, oh yeah, so get that thing, boom, did it. For example, Angelspit did a a million years ago, we did a thing on the Dope for Dark Energy, which is a piece of gear that I will still stand by religiously today. And I think we helped Dope for sell out of the Mark 1 Dark Energy. We helped Dope for sell a whole bunch of them. And I'm good with that. I don't really want any money of it because I'm all about Dope for and I'm all about people getting their hands on good stuff. Also with the Rev 2 from Sequential Circuits, I've pushed that one pretty hard as well because it's a bloody good synthesizer. And I know I've sold quite a few of them. I haven't got a cent for it. I don't care. I want to help out a company that's, you know, American, and I want to help these guys out. So yeah, word of mouth. Thank you, Adam. Yeah, the return on Facebook ads is miserable. I'm not even doing Facebook. In fact, for this whole Ice Planet 9000 gig, we're going, what do we do? Because it's pointless running ads anymore. And as Adam said, it's all about the word of mouth. Is that usually when somebody's going to make a buying decision, when they hear it, that buy this product 5 times, and if it's people who they trust, they're going to get on board. Now, they'll make that buying decision from people who they trust, who are celebrities, YouTubers, friends, family, etc. Now, the reason I'm all excited about this is that I'm not really interested in that thing. I'm not interested in that thing. What I'm saying is that I got my face full of a whole bunch of statistics that are going, you need to become an influencer for your brand. Now, before you start getting pissy about, TikTok, this, content, da-da-da-da-da-da, and this is such a depressing conversation, and I'm sorry. Remember, because I was talking to one of the guys at the theater and I was saying, you know, so this guy's a cameraman and he's really fucking good. Like, he's really good. And he was saying, you know, he wants to do this stuff. And it's like, okay, dude, firstly, you're a cameraman. So you know about lighting, you know about cameras. And if you shoot something, you're going to shoot it on like one of those high-end Blackmagic cameras or something like that. And it's going to look bomb. Secondly, most people think that what you do is magical. So you need to fucking show them the magic. That's the thing about music, is that a lot of people who either don't make music or are trying to get into music are listening to what you do. Alex, I'm looking at you. Ivan, I'm looking at you. And Rob, I'm looking at you. And I'm looking at everybody else here who is constantly trying and succeeding at building music. It's a magical thing that people want to know about. And remember, the influence could be as much as, and again, hashtag, Jesus, I fucking hate this subject. I hate it. The influence can be as little as you talking about the gear that you used on your track. Remember, we spend 2 hours on a Saturday morning talking about the gear that we're using on our track. Your audience are going to be into what you're into. So just be you. Don't get well, hold on, Adam, I see your question and I love that question. I'm going to get to that question. Actually, it's thrown me and I'm just going to go to your question. That's called the Adam effect. Where Adam just, even when you're not on the chat, man, you just Adam asked the question is, why are we so big hi to everybody on Twitch right now. There's Frank. Frank says hi to everybody on, no, Adam, it's fine. It's why I love you. It's a bloody good question. Adam says, why are we all so damn determined to do everything ourselves? And everything is highlighted. The thing about it is that we've always done everything ourselves. Punk rock is about always doing stuff yourself. And I don't want you, see, there's so much pressure for you to sit beside a pool and take a photo of yourself as a musician in a bikini, drinking an energy drink. That, I think people are thinking that that's, and Adam, I think you should do that. Thanks, Frank. I think that, Judd, it's really hard to focus, dude. That's what people think, but I'm going to ask you to change your perspective a bit. Yes, Frank. If you think of all the cool stuff you do with MTV TV, all the stuff you do in the background, it's as simple as turning your phone on and shooting a live video or shooting a short video saying, I'm doing this thing right now. That's it. Do it once a week, do it once a month, do it once a day, whenever you damn well feel like it. Because you must remember that your audience, here he comes, your audience, thanks, Frank. Your audience, he's about to howl. He's standing on the gear, he's found a high spot, and he's going to howl. Your audience are you. You are your audience. And they are interested in what you're interested in. They're not watching TikTok dance videos, and they don't want to see you sitting beside a pool in a bikini drinking a health drink, unless it's Adam or Ivan, because you guys are hot. Okay, I'm now going to throw over to Alex because I have Frank who's about to scream at me. This is going to turn into therapy. Alex, I'm here for you.
Oh, that's a high bar. Well, one thing I remembered was I was listening to one TikToker, and she does song reviews, but she's also a musician herself. And she casually said that to promote her song, she paid other TikTokers to just use it or talk about it. And that was fascinating to me because I'm not used to this level of, I don't know, DIY payola. It was mind blowing.
I have a lot to say about this.
Yeah, I don't know if how I
Okay,
feel about it, but it's definitely happening.
all right. How does this sound? I feel, and I thank you for that. I feel, and I just fucking ran in there. Did you see that? I did an Adam on you. I feel really shitty about paying Meta any money at all so that it can get its message to people who ultimately don't give a fuck. I would not blink sending money to Culture Vulture and saying back my thing. I'm on record saying this because one, Alex fucking deserves it, and two, his market is exactly who I'm looking at. I would not have a problem in the world with that. Jesus Christ. So think of it like what you're doing, and if you want to really fuck these bitches, the corporation, send the money via Venmo. So PayPal doesn't get a cut and XYZ doesn't get a fucking cut. You're sending money directly to them. Think of it as that this might be a new step in the decentralization of internet financing, where all of these corporations are not getting a cut about your fucking shit, and you are sending this specifically into the audience that you're keeping the money within the tribe. Think of it like that. And I think that's fantastic. Ivan, talk to me.
Yeah, first things first, Alex, I love DIY payola. It really kind of like, yeah, no, it's perfect. It is that, but like it is a different thing at the same time because like payola was a little grosser. Also, like double bonus, like you're right, Carl. There's no reason to feel bad about this. You are spending your money on essentially advertising, but in a way that is like super targeted. It gets exactly to your audience because you can choose who you're giving your money to do this. And if everybody matches up, then you're in the zone. And the result is like it's like you could give your money to Meta or Facebook or Amazon or whoever, and since they just use like a fire hose, they're not going to be able to actually talk directly to your audience because they're too busy using a fire hose.
Totally agree. And Adam's actually already pointing out that we have, like within our community, we have there are influencers and people that we can go to. Like, Alex, I see your hand. I'll be quick. Like, one thing I have is I have a DJ pool, And if I send stuff out to that DJ pool, and this is another really interesting thing about the failed concept of promotion, is that when you pay someone for promotion, you're not guaranteed to play, because that is a model that is based on promotion fucking 30, 50 years old. Someone's going to click on it. It's not yielding a purchase, because look, man, at the end of the day, the return on the investment could be people listening to your music or getting it played on a dance floor or XYZ. Which is why when I do a DJ mail out, I will invite people in. I either owe them a favor, or I say, well, I owe you X dollars. And it's usually like $20 when they bought me a drink and I haven't paid them back. Or it's somebody who's done something for me, and it's my way of saying, hey man, as a thank you, I want to take your track and I want to throw them to these guys. I don't feel right about charging you, because that model of promotion, dude, that's been a vacuum hole for me my whole fucking life. Like with Angelspit, it's like, yeah, we're spending all this money on promotion and publicity. You made the magazines happy, but really at the end of the day, it was word of mouth every single fucking time. So Alex, I see your hand go.
Yeah, maybe what would be important for me, that it's sort of transparent what's happening, because I would be upfront with my potential audience what's happening. But I think another way one could do it is to offer maybe copies of the vinyl or the CD for a review, and have like something where people can sign up, and then you look at their social media, and if you think, oh yeah, this person really talks about records or something, I'll send my release.
Yes. Sending them copies is a great idea, but I think, see, the problem is then you're going to get a reviewer that's got a stack this high. And there's, once again, like, think of it as reviewers are also an influencer who's been around for a really long time as well. A lot of reviewers are now asking for a tip when you do it. And, I don't have a problem in the world with that, because when you look at Regen and all these other places, they've got a pile of goddamn music. I say pay those motherfuckers for their goddamn time. Like, sure. And we're talking about bastards in our community, throw them some money. I say do it. I say, everyone's bitching about the economy and the blah, 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 blah. Get the economy fucking starting, the music industry economy moving forward by injecting cash into it, by saying, thank you, here's money. There's no sin in that. There's no sin in that at all. That's why we have Patreon, and then Patreon are taking a cut, and now Apple are taking a cut. I have a problem with that. Yes, Ivan, I see your empty seat, but I tell you what, Rob, I'm going to throw to you, and then I'll throw back to Ivan.
Yeah, this is a really interesting topic. It's I think it's grown a lot since COVID days, when people started to really jump onto Twitch and that, because they were sitting at home bored and they wanted to talk to people. The socialization really drove them to communicate via alternate means than face to face. And I was part of that envelope. I was networking with people online almost continuously, just to get human interaction. And the best thing about doing the influencing piece, really, that I've seen, is connecting the dots. So if you connect up 2 or 3 people that all have similar interests, and they're all streaming, and they do a raid over to each other's channels, they incorporate each other's communities, that's really powerful. I've seen that with Woody, the piano guy, working with Floyd Steinberg. Floyd Steinberg runs Woody the Piano Shack's distro channel, and they communicate together all the time. They even do sessions together where they create music with each other, and they often have 3 or 4 other people that they constantly network with. So you're basically connecting networks of communities. And if you think about 3 degrees of freedom, where you've only got to go through 2 hops of people to find somebody else that's connected to somebody else that you know. If you start joining those influence networks together, where somebody's got 10,000 people, somebody's got 1,500 people, and somebody's got 500 people, you'll end up with a much bigger network than those 3 combined by those 3 communities connecting together. You'll also find value in adding additional streaming platforms. And that's why I went away from Twitch viewing and I went to YouTube viewing, because people that I was, following, like Mike Pensini, who's a really good keyboard composer in Australia, he was connected to Jerfo, the music addict in Boston, and they were all on Twitch, but nobody was following on YouTube. So I went onto YouTube to follow both of them, and I started tipping them on YouTube. And people were paying attention, saying, oh, who are these people? So you start to grow the YouTube community then, because not everyone's on Twitch all the time. So same thing with Vulture Culture. Alex, I've been following him for a long time now, and whatever platform he's streaming to predominantly, I will often go to one of the other networks and chat with him and make sure that there's plenty of chat activity going on, so the bots recognize that there's activity. And then I will donate to his tip jar on that platform, so people pay attention and the bots pay attention. It's really important to leverage not just the networks of influencers, but also the platforms that they're broadcasting on. And if you see that there's not too much activity on one of their platforms, you can jump on that and help them out. Like I often watch Art of Rock on YouTube now instead of Twitch, because there's not always a bigger following there. So if you've got friends who can join, if you can invite people to join those other platforms, that will dynamically grow the network. It'll grow the outreach, and contributing shows that you're committed to that artist or that person who might be providing really cool information or product reviews. Like I've bought stuff through Vulture Culture. Three different things I've actually bought through him. Is feeding my gear addiction syndrome. He knows it for sure, and I'm okay with that, because he's doing some really cool shit. So, think about connecting influencers and then going across networks and then promoting on those different networks. Those are really important with influencing.
Okay, yes, I thank you in that. Also, Alex, we're sending you love because you're also in Florida from Vulture Culture. If you haven't got it, man, we are pushing your channel hard. That's Alex's YouTube. And like I said, Wednesday nights, man, it's inspiring. I would like to say, I see your hands. I'm just going to do an Adam and barge on in. If you want to get your music played for free, MTV TV, there's the link. Go to MTV TV. You're going to email them, and they are going to send you a link to a Dropbox that you can send your stuff into. That's how you do it. Then the next thing you're going to do is, because they're scratching your back, you're going to scratch their back. You are going to mention them on all your socials. You are going to raid to them after you do a broadcast, which is what we're doing here. You're going to be awesome to them. Interestingly, hold on a minute. Interestingly, on the on this thing I went to, this presentation, Ivan has so disappeared. They were saying that the graph showed this massive spike during lockdown. Like, that's what triggered all this. And then after lockdown, there was a slight drop, and the curvature of it is insane. And they also mentioned, I'll just throw it out there, that long form videos are becoming more popular because everything swang back to like 30-second, 10-second, 1 minute videos. Now it's swinging back to long form, which is, I thought, and that means YouTube, which I thought was really fascinating. Maybe because people want more information. Like, this week I was actually looking at a mixer. I was influenced. I've been researching this mixer that I need for the Ice Planet 9000 live gig. And I settled on, like, I totally settled on this mixer, and I'm looking at reviews for the app because it's all like app controlled. And then in the cons of it, because I always go to the cons, the guy was saying, I wish it was more like this other mixer. And then he pulls up the app for the other mixer and he's going into it. And I went, oh my God, that's basically a Midas desk. And I use a Midas desk at the LGBTQ Center. I fucking love it. So then I started looking into that rack mount mixer because of what that influencer said in a video for another thing. And I just did all this comparison. I went, oh my God, that's crazy. That influencer wasn't paid. And that's the thing that really pisses me off. I just can't watch so many fucking YouTube fucking videos and stuff because it's like, bitch, how much money are you getting for this? Like, really? Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's like, no, I want to hear, that's what I want to hear. Because, you know, when someone goes, somebody else might say, well, I actually kind of like that. Anyway, I'll shut up. Alex!
Well, there was this kind of circle, I think, in the synthesizer review space on YouTube, where it first started out like a traditional magazine review kind of deal, where they would get the instrument from the manufacturer, do their review, and then send it back. And even though that had its own problems, like reviews in magazines used to be maybe more flattering than sometimes the gear would deserve, but in general, that was the idea. And then I think it moved a bit to more campaigns that were done by manufacturers, and then people got really tired of it, and there was this whole backlash of a certain subset of synthesizer YouTube viewers, and I think it's still reverberating. And as a result, the people doing the reviews or the synthesizer showcases or videos, whatever, are kind of jaded, I feel, and are maybe too. I'm very how do I say it? Reluctant to do paid reviews, at least some, because it has become such a dirty, or not paid reviews, but even accepting gear for review, not even getting paid. Yeah, so that was sort of interesting. And yeah, shout out to Floyd Steinberg, because so few people do stuff with FM synthesizers. And I don't know what to say. Maybe somebody else jump in.
Yeah, the paid gear review thing on YouTube has become a thing. Yeah, there's a lot of gear reviewers that refuse to take part in that anymore, and they're all going out of their way to make sure everybody knows that they're not taking part in it. But paid gear review, yes, it's kind of a problem. At the same time, like, band is hopefully going to be starting to do broadcasts soon of like practices and live shows from over Twitch. And if Roland wants to throw me some cash for showing off the gear that we choose to use, I'm not against it. At the same time, like, don't try to tell us what we're going to use. Like, that'll never happen. Ever.
Okay.
Ever.
Thank you. Can I just intervene there? You may be using stuff that's discontinued, and if you have a moral issue with, bitch, if you're gonna pimp me, then you're gonna pay for it. Pimp that stuff. Also, remember that the Roland won't pay you, and Roland will never pay you. No offense.
Yeah.
I mean, like, unless, and I don't doubt if you became huge, which you could be. I mean, like, if there's several people in the band and everybody in the band said we're going to work together like a band, and we're all going to be focusing on content creation because, Christ, you fucking need to. And think about how much content you're making. You fucking walk around rehearsal half the time with your phone out, shoot a goddamn fucking video, then everyone's going, I don't want to make videos, I don't want to do this, blah, 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 while they're on Instagram. Anyway, what I'm doing is I'm talking about gear that isn't sold anymore. Like I'll go on, I'll do a thing about the Emax, I'll do a thing about the K2000. I'm going to do a big thing about the Emulator 4. I am going to do a thing about Dopefer stuff because I fucking love Dopefer. I don't get Dopefer for free. I don't get Dopefer. Dopefer don't send me money. I want to keep Dopefer going because Dopefer is a cottage industry that started this whole fucking thing in the first place. They're an inspiration. I've met them. Dieter Dopefer and Chris Ansel are good people. You want to keep them going.
And for our videos, we're like it's going to show off hardware. It's going to show off a lot of very old hardware.
Great. Well, also, I'm sorry. I'm just going to.
We really love it.
Yes. Also, yeah. I tell you what, if you want to scratch some more backs, like not Roland actually aren't all that huge. Just saying. I mean, they're huge, but they're not that huge. Like they're not. Yeah, man, we're rolling and we're forking out the money. If you want to help someone out, if you've got Erica synths, push them. If you've got Moog synths, push Moog. Telling me Moog doesn't have financial troubles now and always. Push sequential circuits. In my situation, they're Americans. They're employing Americans. They're keeping America going. They are keeping this thing going in the United States. If I was in Australia and I had access to Melbourne Instruments, I'd be pushing them. I'd be pushing Fairload, obviously. So push these guys. And if I inspire a product or brand fucking strength that is going to make Rosem Emu guy, Dave, I'm sorry, I keep getting your last name wrong. That's going to make it better so that you can put out an SB fucking 4800 or something drum machine. Do it. That's my thing here. But plus, the biggest thing that you're doing is growing your brand, which is going to lead you to sales, which is going to lead people knowing about you, and it will eventually trickle to your Bandcamp. God, it always goes. If you notice, all this shit goes to, well, I'm going to do all these things so some other corporation can take a cut, and they're going to take a cut. Yes, you are creating free fucking content for some mega corporation, but hey, man, have we found a hack to start like stealing the revenue from them? Because we are giving it to other people, and maybe other people will start giving it to you. I have turned down people saying, I've turn people down from if somebody will say, hey man, can I give you X dollars to pimp my stuff? I've always gone no, because I have a moral issue with it. But maybe I need to stop thinking like that, because if I don't take their money, what am I going to do with their fucking money? I'm going to put it into more music. I'm going to be able to fund these things. I'm going to be keeping the engines of what I'm trying to make awesome, this awesome machine. I'm trying to keep it going. And if someone says, hey man, here's some oil to lubricate your machine to keep going, that was a bit weird. I said oil and not KY, just saying. I think that's a good thing. I think it is important for people in this genre and influencers, etc., to be focusing on their product. You hear that, right? You can hear that, can't you? Everyone can hear you. God. Because sure, you might sell that beauty. Thanks, Frank. You might sell that beauty product or that kitty litter or whatever it is you've got, and you might help them sell that, and you might get a tenth of a cent. And you bitch to me about Spotify plays, for fuck's sake. Make your mind up. Then you could be pimping your stuff and pushing people to your product, your Bandcamp, your sales. Then after Bandcamp and PayPal, I love the corporations. After they take their cut, you're getting of that Bandcamp sale of $8. Is it $5.60 or something, dog shit? I don't fucking know. Hey, while we're on it, can someone please fucking tell me, because I'm on a rant, when there's a disaster management thing, like something terrible goes on, and they say, oh, we're going to set up a fund, and they pull these musicians in, and they don't pay the musicians and the DJs, who are traditionally the lowest wage earning people and all, so that bankers and other people with lots of money can say, oh, here's a few cents, here's a few dollars. Why is that? hey man, I'm struggling to pay my rent here, like most musicians, but we're going to expect you to do this thing for free because musicians are caring people who care for the community, but you're going to take a hit on it. Meanwhile, those bankers aren't giving a fucking shit and they're throwing a few cents. Why? Fucking why? Why don't we say to the airline pilots, hey, why don't you fly for free? And the bankers, why don't you do your job for free for Florida or whatever it is? Because our government is so caught up. Our government, I just said our government. The American government is so caught up in military expenditure. I'm sorry, rabbit hole. Rob, pull me out of this now. Go.
Yeah, big rabbit hole. I think the big challenge here, and just shout out to Brandchats who's joined us on Instagram. I think the cool thing is that we've got a lot of people who are in the community that are thriving on these topics. And it doesn't really matter whether you're only interested in the tech or you just like the person that's talking about it. Those are two of the brands, right? So if you think about branding, it's not just about the interest group. It's about the personality that's behind it, who's animating it all and talking about it and sharing it. And most importantly, they're watching the comments and they're responding to the community. Don't be one of these jerks who just wants to listen to themselves talk like me and doesn't pay attention to the comments. You've got to watch what people are saying and interact with the community. And people like Vulture Culture do that really well. Angelspit does that really well. There's a lot of people, well, most people don't want the brand of Angelspit. They don't want to see Carl. They want to see his cat, Frank. His cat is part of the branding. Cats are part of the, cats in space, dude. It's all about the cats. So you'll be surprised what people follow and why they follow. It doesn't matter so long as you're consistent. Be consistent. Bring your brand as your face or the technology or both and your cat and share it and interact with the community. That's the important part of having this social environment. And the corporations don't really matter so much if you're following the right links, and make sure that you're putting the right links in so you can give somebody a tip directly without having the middleman, scone some of that money. Pulled you out of the hole, Carl.
Thanks. That was a good job, Rob, and I'm really grateful. By the way, yeah, if you do something live, pick a funds provider that's going directly, like fuck PayPal. Go with Venmo, because Venmo don't take a cut, I think. By the way, hey, on December 11th, there's a live gig. I'm doing my first live gig, and money goes towards, if I make any money, we're probably going to run at a loss, just saying, but money will go towards buying tuna for Frank. I have trouble saying the word tuna. Can I just really quickly, Rob, can you, I need to have this conversation with you. Do you have trouble with saying tuna so Americans understand you?
I have problems with everything I say.
What about, how do you say tuna as in the fish?
Guitar tuna.
Yeah, tuna, CH, tuna.
Yeah, tuna.
And it's what day comes after Monday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. That's right. It's Tuesday. It's not Tuesday. It's Tuesday. If a T is followed by a U, it's pronounced chew, because that's Australia. And if you don't get it, you can fuck right off.
That's right.
Ivan, did I see your hand before? Did you want to interject with something really random?
Yeah, when it comes to like interacting with your audience, just keep an eye on what Scary Lady Sarah does. Like she's all over the socials, and she is pro at interacting with her audience, like on top of that stuff. Very good at it. And yeah, like we, as band folks should be like it's kind of important, especially these days. I mean, we don't have labels doing that for us. We have to do it our damn selves.
Yes, agreed. And this is like it's a really shitty thing. I see so many videos going, we have to do this thing, we have to be content creators, and I fucking hate it. But I will argue that you've always had to be fucking content creators. You're going to do a thing for an interview. Look, I haven't been interviewed in a million years. I'll be honest, I haven't. In the last few albums. And I ask around, and not many people are getting interviewed because there aren't any more interview magazines. I don't even do video interviews anymore. Maybe it's because I suck. I don't fucking know. But what I'm saying is, back in the olden days when I used to, and so many of us, magazine interviews, you'd sit down for a few hours and do a fucking magazine interview. And would you get sales from that? Who knows? Then you do video interviews, and it was the same fucking thing. You are always generating, shall we say, auxiliary content for your release, your music, always. And your face sells your music. Always. It is the rule of thumb. Albums with faces on it sell more, unless it's a triangle with a rainbow coming out and it was released in 1973. It was one of the greatest albums ever made. Fucking always something to contradict what I'm saying. Rob, help.
Just a couple of things. Don't forget that YouTube is usually for people who watch stuff, not listen. And even though I love to listen to music on YouTube all the time, I don't subscribe to it. I don't pay for the YouTube Premium. I use a third-party app that gets me all that for ad-free. But listen to this. Most of the revenue for YouTube is from YouTube ads for people who watch stuff on YouTube. So if you're gonna stream, there may not be any breaks in your stream, but if you're watching a movie or a music video, there will be ads at the beginning that you have to watch, like 2 or 3 ads, and you get paid for those ads. You get affiliated fees when you stream, you get paid for those ads. So that's really important. You'll probably get more money from ad revenue on YouTube than you will from anything else in YouTube. That's really important to think about. And just a question for you, Carl, about this concert that's coming up. If people can't attend, but they can still, could you sell a virtual ticket and provide a stream link or something like that? Just a thought.
Actually, that is a fantastic thought. There is, if you go to the, hold on, this is such a great question. And while we're doing that, while I'm finding that link, Rob, can you remind me, the company you mentioned, the video streaming service, the massive one, say that again for me.
YouTube.
Tube. That's right. It's Tube. Tube, not tube. It's not YouTube. It's YouTube. That's how you say it. It's Tube. Say it again, Rob.
You watch YouTube in the car park.
That's right. You watch YouTube in the car park, with Dazza and Frazza.
And
There's
Sharon,
a link.
Jazza.
There's a link. There's an option on there to purchase. I can't make it, but I want to throw you money option. We're trying to sort out a streaming thing, so that's coming. We're going to figure that one out because we really want to stream there. And it's funny that normally when you do a gig, it's like, oh, no cameras, no nothing. For ours, it's like, please take cameras, please take photos, and here's who I want you to link. I had something vaguely serious to say, and I forgot what it was. Except all of you are wrong when you say tube. Somebody said,
you know how you
ahead.
hate people that hold up their cameras at concerts? Imagine if you gave everyone a discount code on their ticket, that if they used the discount code on their camera, their phone, and they streamed it on their social network, they got a discount for your entry ticket. Think about that.
That's a good idea. I like that.
So turn that hate into love. Spread the joy.
Spread the joy. What I was thinking about doing is something similar, but there would be a discount code for the Bandcamp. So if you go, there's a crazy discount at Bandcamp. So if you don't buy the merch here, you can buy it at the Bandcamp.
That's a good idea too.
Thinking about that. Okay, Ivan. Thanks, Rob. Always good. Ivan, I see your hand. And can you say YouTube for me? Say it incorrectly.
YouTube?
That's right. That's wrong. And what's the fish that cats love?
Tuna.
Wrong. Bzz. That's 0 out of 2. And the last thing is the guitar is out of, it's flat. What instrument do I use to make sure that it's actually the correct frequency?
A tuna.
Wrong. It's a tuner. That's 0 out of 3. Fail for you and fail for your country. Ivan, what do you have to say? Oh, tits. I muted you. I'm sorry. I'm such a bastard.
Apparently, the yeah, right now you can expect like roughly a fifth of your audience to be holding up a camera. Like, and I'm with you. Like nobody else, like it's annoying watching people experience shows through their camera, through their phone while they're at the show. Like that's still like a stretch, but at the same time, like if they're going to be doing that, like yeah, get them to post it, get them to like link it, because that's just increasing reach like almost exponentially, which it would be difficult to do all on your own. And so, and like any other thing, if somebody's doing something for you and you're not, reciprocating either by paying them or making them feel like you're doing something for them or doing something for them, then you're like living with bad expectations. Never, and I'm gonna like really hardcore about this, but like, never expect things from other people without, a reciprocation. Like it's a trade. And we're traders. That's what humans are good at.
I overwhelmingly agree with you, and there's no shame in that. Like this is the thing.
Absolutely not.
This is the thing about musicians is they think that everything should be free, and everyone should do. And I'm guilty of this. Everyone should do everything for them for free, and they should do everything for everyone for free. But we're not going to worry about rent. Frank, what do you think? That's just bullshit. I know you're so huge, and he's putting on lots of weight. So if you're a musician,
it would be the tuna.
Oh, he is. He's eating a lot of tuna and tuna and cheese. He's as fat and heavy as a tuba. I could blow him I could play him like a tuba right now. Okay, so you bought a USB floppy? What? I'm getting random things. This is really interesting because like years ago I did a video about the Emax and a video about the K2000, and I know I've sold people have commented and messaged me saying, well, after your thing I bought an Emax. Hey, I've got a question about it. And
yeah, I did.
You did?
Yeah,
you bought an Emax.
I bought one because of your videos.
What? When did you buy an Emax, Frank?
I got the rack mount one ages ago.
Dude, I didn't know that. I didn't know you bought it because of like we should be.
Then I got that big cluster of discs that I still need to bring to you next time.
That's right.
All the Emax discs.
That's right. Yeah, that's. Oh, dude. So does yours have the USB or does it have discs?
It's got both. It's got USB on the front and it's got a SCSI drive.
Something I absolutely hate. So it's had the discs ripped out.
Yes.
What I fucking wish is that you could plug a USB floppy into the USB input of the Emax, but you can't. And then it could read. Oh man, that would make my life happy. I'm currently going. We were talking about something, and I'm just veered.
You're talking about your K2000 reviews and your Emax.
Yeah. I'm still getting people like, talk to me about it. And I was saying, before we're going to stream, I've got to sell the K2000 because I don't use it anymore. But the thing that I'm glad Brett's not here because he fucking loses his shit. We're Kurtzwell brothers. The thing about the K2000 is it sounds different, in my humble opinion, better. Oh no, I shouldn't say better. Then, well, the 2500 is a K2000, but the 26, the 27. Although they did some work on the 2606, I think 2660 or something. I don't remember. But it's such a good fucking synth, and I'm gonna miss it because I got all these fucking discs for the K2000 now, and the fucker is that the EMU does not read them because my emulator 4 is it's the one just before it went MS-DOS compatible. So I've got to do all of this fucking around to get to go from, like, I had to transfer Emax sounds onto the emulator 4 so I could play these tracks live. It's part of the fun though, isn't it? Wow, that we're not talking about that anymore.
Well, I got the rack mount K2000 with the floppy drive in it.
Great. So it's got a whole bunch of outputs.
Yeah. That's in my rack with the EMU and the what's the other one? The S5000, Akai S5000's in the same rack.
Dude, you've got the sampler rack from hell.
It is. It's so many cables. I had to buy a 24-channel mixer just to understand it all.
Fucking great, man. Fucking great. And that's the magic of samplers. I'm just going to quickly throw it to Alex. I see the hand of Alex. Oh my God, Frank.
Yeah, just stupid little thing. Don't be mad. Venmo is owned by PayPal since 2013. And they take cuts under certain conditions, but I think what you're talking about, they don't, I think. And also, I think there are also SCSI emulators where you can have like a little PCB on one end and put your, I think it was like SD card into it and then load from there as if it were a hard drive, I think.
That's really brilliant.
Yeah, I think there.
Yeah, that's true.
I have to disappear for 30 seconds because I have a cat screaming at me right now. So if you guys can just hold the fort down, keep talking about this because I find it very interesting. I'm really sorry. Welcome to the life of Carl. I have to deal with Frank. Please keep talking about this.
So, my most dangerous, synthfluencer is bad gear. Bad gear causes me to buy more stuff all the damn time. The good news is it's usually pretty cheap stuff. So,
I think the good thing about him is that he tends to make me appreciate what I already have.
He does a very good job of that as well.
Yeah, I know I have this synthesizer, this drum machine, which has some flaws, but then he makes these jams with gear that's like forgotten that you can get for like 120, in my case, euros on the used market, and he makes this really good sounding music with it, with maybe the help of some tools like a filter pedal or an additional kick drum, and you think, oh well, maybe it's not so bad. I think I've watched his episodes in order to hype myself up for some gear I already have.
I have actually watched, the reverb prices of old gear go up because it was featured on Bad Gear. I've got a Red Star, with the vocoder chip plugged into it, and I love that thing. It's goofy as hell and a little wonky, but it makes good sounds. And I would not have known about it if it wasn't for Bad Gear.
Yeah, I think the rates or the prices for the TB3, the little IRA one, have never recovered after his latest video about it, because he actually didn't like it. Which is also like the way I feel about some of my gear. Initially, it didn't feel like the way it felt in the store, or maybe I thought it would be in my home. But then after some time, I tend to I get an appreciation for it and find out what it's really good at.
Yeah, I think I've got a piece of gear that's doing that to me right now. It's a controller. I picked this up at Cold Waves. It's a X-Squeeze. Still getting used to it.
What does that do, Ivan?
It's a controller, but it's got
Hexagon layout. It's like the keys differently arranged.
Yeah, the keys are arranged weird, so like it works nicely on that because you can tell it like what mode it is, and like you can use the software to arrange what those keys are going to do. Also, it's got MPE, which I think it's my first real MPE controller.
That's USB, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, but it's got it's got analog MIDI out, and it's also got gate pitch and mod out for Eurorack. So like double bonus. This like we'll talk to anything I've got here.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I got one of those little, I think it's a Dave Smith. It's a little tiny red and white keyboard. I got it from Moog, from their shop in Asheville just before it got bought out. And it's got a lot of connectors to it to allow you to do the same thing. It's got the MIDI in, MIDI out. You can do your module controls, CV out as well. And it's so compact. It would be probably really good for a really small home studio if you didn't have much desk space. I stick it on top of one of my synths because it's got extra. One of the retro synths has a lot of real estate on top, so you can stick it on top, and it doesn't take up any space at all.
Can I ask? You'll excuse me standing like this because someone is on my chair, and I don't want to mention their name because they're just from hell. It's really interesting that when you breaking down gear for live, and I know that the one option of talking about gear is I'm just going to take a laptop, but we were talking last week about what gear shall we take live, and I was planning on running all my stuff through the L1V mixer. But it's funny that I realized that I don't have a rack for it. And I realized that I needed a rack to hold everything. And I was thinking, Frank, can I sit here? No, I can't sit here, Frank. Why don't let me sit here? I realized that if I wire everything up live, it's going to take me half an hour. And there's also going to be a very large margin for error. And I have to do a check to make sure I got it all right, as opposed to a sound check where it's just boom, which is why during the week I've been researching different rack mixes. And it's interesting that one of the rack mixes, the rack mixer I decided on, whose name I won't mention, will fit because it's only, the rack I'm taking is only 8 racks high. And I've got a Dope for modular, just a small one rack of Dope for stuff. And I've got the emulator 4, and I need one rack for the power thingy conditioner, and I need one rack so I can sit the zip disk in there. So my new 3-rack mixer isn't going to fit, so I'm putting it around the back of the modular. So therefore, they can pull all the wires and cables straight out of the back. And because the depth of the modular is only really that much, the depth of the mixer is only that much. So there's all this space in there that's not getting used. And it's also light enough to lift. Because I remember with Jekyll Switch, when it was a K2000 and an O1V mixer and a vocoder, you couldn't lift that fucking box because it was so fucking heavy. But my point is that it's really fascinating how you go, this is what I'm going to take live. And then you realize how much gear you have, and you realize how much the actual practicalities of turning up to the gig and doing the gig are. Even though, like with my live gig for this, my live setup with this gig it's an 88 key controller. It's one of the it's a Studio Logic, and it's really fucking good. I love this thing because there's 4 layers, and you can say, well, this layer is going to be this much on the keyboard, and that area is going to be transposed this much, and it's only going to be on this MIDI channel, and the volume is going to be this much, and the sound is going to be this much. So every time you call up a preset, it's going to go boom. MIDI controllers, MIDI patch changes everything. And then you can say there's like 3 joysticks on the thing, fucking 3 joysticks, and you can say, well, this one is actually going to be sustain, just because I've already got the sustain pedal, and the sustain pedal on this layer isn't going to work. The expression pedal on this one is going to go to controller 19. The expression pedal on this one is going to go to controller 15. There's all this routing you can do. It's fucking great. and it's a Studio Logic with a Fairtar keyboard, so it's tough as fucking nails. And it's just really good to be, you know, to have this fucking thing, because you can be going flip, 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 flip through all the stuff. It's fucking great. That all had a purpose. Oh, and I've also got the as I mentioned, the small keyboard, the Arturia A37 keyboard, and it's mainly doing arpeggiators and stuff like that. So I can just pull up an arpeggiator and hit go, or type in a really quick sequence and hit go. And part of that is going to the Emulator 4. So the Emulator 4 is playing a note, an actual little sound. And I've got the knobs set up. So one of them is frequency, one of them is res. It's sending controller information, and the modulation slider is actually going to the steepness curve of the envelope. So you can bring that up and it will be a longer sound, or you can bring the modulation down and it'll be a shorter sound. Meanwhile, I've got the CV version of that going out. So pitch and gate is going to the little module, who's a buyer, noise engineering buyer. It's digital, but I fucking love it, because there's all this wacky fucking, it's basically a DX7 on drugs. And then that runs into the Dope4 SEM filter. So that, remember the modulation? I've got that routed to the Dope4's filter. So although the little the noise engineering buyer thing is doing all of the shapes, because I've also got a built-in Quadra LFO, all of these sounds and everything else is floating around. It's really good fun. But my point is that it's fascinating how even with that, I've got to patch all this shit, and I don't like patching shit because stuff can go wrong. But hey, man, you got to do it. But that's a nice point of conversation, is that if you're doing a live thing and you go, I'm going to have this gear, I was thinking really carefully about the setup times and everything else, but it's like, wow, man, I so underestimated this. I underestimated, I'm going to need 3 big cases, because I've got the keyboard, I've got the blaster beam, and I've got the rack. Before it was going to be 4 big cases. And that's, like, once again, it's got to fit in the Prius.
Is the ambient music going to be 5.1, and
yes,
you're going to be running into house just as is from your mixer?
Yeah, I'm going to be sending the thing that I've got. Luckily, another reason I got this thing, fuck them for thinking ahead, really, really good thinking on this thing, is it's got 6 auxiliaries, and the auxiliaries are XLR. So I don't have to run them through DI boxes, and the main outs are also XLR. So the main is going to be house left and right. I think I'm going to be setting up a separate send for subs, I think. And that's going to go out an auxiliary as a dedicated sub, I think, and I stress I think. And the because usually they'll sum the left and right, and they'll turn that into the sum. But I think the place we're playing is, and even if that's not the case, then I just don't do that. I think I'm setting up a separate sub mix, and then another 2 of the auxiliaries are going to be backfield. So if I ever play a place that is not 5.1, I just say, here's 4 cables, those 2 hard left right, those 2 hard left right, there's 2 left right mixes, and there's a sub. But if you don't have a sub, it doesn't matter, because the sub is summed from these different outputs anyway with a low pass filter on it. And researching what the standard low pass is for a sub is very fascinating. There's argument of whether it's 100 or 120, but the fascinating thing is that when I was just spieling there, I made a realization of something I need to check. The really fascinating thing about all of this is that it's not it's the most fantastic problem, trying to figure out how to do this shit live. And 20 years ago I would have said, well, I'm only playing to 20 people, so it doesn't matter. And maybe it's age and something where I just don't give a fuck anymore. And it's like, I'm playing for me. Like, this is for me. This is my reward to myself for all the hard fucking work I've done on this. And you know, if the show fucking sucks, it doesn't matter, because part of my reward and my process has been practicing the songs, figuring out I've let myself fuck with my synthesizers. And the show is going to be 1 hour of a process that's taken 100 hours. And if the show fucks up, oh well, but I had 99 hours that were really good fun. Sorry you guys didn't get to see that. But the show won't fuck up. It'll be amazing.
But if you do it for yourself, there won't be any pressure or expectations on yourself. You can just relax and enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. I have never had this before, because for me, it's always been about the expectation of the performance, and everything's about the performance. And, you know, man, I'm in theater, and it's all about the performance. But it's like, nah, I'm unlearning that now. Maybe it's a part of my healing journey or something, or my maturing journey as a musician, or maybe it's like, it's funny with Angelspit, it is about the performance. But with this, maybe it's more important to have a healing energy within myself that I can, you know, share. And another really interesting thing is, man, when you have this attitude, you go into a gig with a totally different feeling. There's not this expectation. Like, the gig is basically, it's the last celebration. And then I'm fucking doing this again, let me tell you.
Well, there shouldn't be any pressure anyway for Ice Planet 9000, because that's not the style, right? It's
I know.
Bring out your inner Enya, Carl.
It is. It's my inner Enya. Then I want to tell you a joke, but and that's, I think I mentioned this last week, is that you've got to find this calm, then you got to bring it. And that's the wonderful trick with this band. I think I've told everyone, Alex, I see your hand just really quickly, at the center, because, you know, once upon a time, if you wanted to clear a room, you'd play Enya. And the center the other day, and I've now got the reputation of the guy who plays Enya, and they all go, Carl, you're not going to play Enya. We just did this crazy trans ball and you're going to play Enya? Or we just did this thing full of like queer seniors and you're going to play Enya at the end to get everyone out of the room. And it's like, yeah, fucking, and you look at all the iPads with the playing list and it's like gay pride and all this stuff. And it's great. I fucking love that shit. And now there's Enya. And what's funny is that, like, we did this thing the other week, was this queer gig. It was celebrating queer and trans people who are in the Hispanic community in Los Angeles. And it was fucking awesome. It was so much fun. And of course, at the end of the night, when we're trying to get people out, we can't get them out. So let's play Enya. And the funny thing is that people play Enya and they start singing along and they start swaying and hugging each other. And it's like, damn it. And you're failing. So maybe I should start playing Skinny Puppy. There's Frank. Alex, what are your thoughts on life?
You reminded me of Jean-Michel Jarre, who I never saw live, but in the few clips I saw, I think he never puts really out a show, in the sense that he jumps around, and I think has his laser harp and other things, but I think he mostly just plays his synthesizers. And maybe your Ice Planet's gig will be somewhat similar.
I'm sorry, I was writing a note to myself. I saw Jean-Michel live. In fact, I keep this under my desk all the time because it was such a fucking profound gig. Like, this is the guy, there it is. Jean-Michel Jarre live. I keep it under my keyboard. A brilliant show. What blew my mind about it is that Jean-Michel plays everything live. The guy's actually a really good keyboard player. He's not miming, he's playing that shit live. Or at least now he is. He may have been miming for a moment, but now he plays those live. Oh, Rob, you rock, man. You rock. And love once again to everyone in Florida. You know, you've got our prayers now. Yeah, I saw him live and it was great because he was playing that shit and the two guys flanking him were playing it. It was live. And sure, there may have been some sequences. Maybe there was stuff on backing, you know, laptops. But that's what I loved about it. It's like this motherfucker is playing it live. And all of those synths on the stage right now, they're being used. Like you can hear the ARP 2600 being used. You can hear you can hear those EMSs come in with the noise. Isn't it funny how one of the most expensive synthesizers you can possibly get, the only thing they can do is noise, but it's such good noise. Yeah, it's it was great. He does. It's interesting that during the 80s, he did go through the stage where he'd come out with the handheld synth, and that was great. And because the thing I love about Jean-Michel is he's such a showman that it's like, hey, I'm not just going to be playing a keyboard. The keyboard's going to wrap around me. Incidentally, that keyboard came up on eBay in LA a few years ago, and it sold for like $1,000. The fucking wraparound Jean-Michel Jarre keyboard, and it even had those parts where it came up and you could put monitors into it. Oh God, it was beautiful. It's like, where the fuck am I going to put that? And also the remote keyboards that he used, like mid-late 80s. Oh God, they were beautiful, really beautiful pieces of art. And he played them. So, and this is another really interesting thing, is that it doesn't matter what genre of music you're in, people want to see showmanship or show personship. I'm not sure, but in my case, it's showmanship. They want to see a show. They want to see a show. They don't want to see help desk. And Kraftwerk play a lot of their shit live. I was looking at like the background, like Kraftwerk's background. Like all those guys are classically trained. They pulled two of the members were pulled out of a conservatorium of music. One was a flute major. One was a keyboard major. They played it all live. Which I think is fucking amazing. Anyway, there's a rant. It was a boring rant. I don't care. Somebody pick it up. Ivan, what are you looking at right now?
Facebook.
Okay,
And make
that's
sure
really
to like the broadcast today.
okay. Good. Thank you for liking the broadcast and being. Alex, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think for playing live is the best. You're best served if you just start out with something incredibly simple, and expand from there. Like if I were to make it to a stage, I would have my Octatrack and a synthesizer, and if I have a friend along, there would be also maybe a bass amp and a guitar amp and everything I need to sing, but nothing more. And then if all goes well, maybe I bring another synthesizer along where I just play an arpeggiator, but that's it. And I've seen also other like bands in our genre use this kind of thing. Like She Passed Away, they had an MPC, one of the new ones, a Nord drum, and I think like a small synthesizer, and that was their setup.
There's a lot to be said for keeping it simple.
There is everything to be said. God, fuck off. I totally agree. We were talking about this last week. Hey, you should so watch fucking Art of Rock more often, because we talk about awesome shit here. Yeah, we talk about this fucking fuckery of playing shit live. I've always wanted to, and this is a real Adam thing as well. I've always wanted to Adam says, I bet $1 I could get a dance floor with a well-timed Orinoco flow. Yes, you could. Yes, you could.
Oh yeah, no.
If anybody ever does a remix of them, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to come to your house and I'm going to kill you with a hammer. Anya, that's what Anya would love. You know, her nickname is the Hammer Princess. That's what they call her. Yeah, when she gets the job done, she uses a hammer. Yep. That's what the dresses were usually white. That's why they're red. She's known as the Warrior Princess. Anyway,
If we're rolling D50, I could,
and the Emulator 3 and the CMI 3, and she still uses the Juno 60. Well, fucking great, man.
that's a good setup.
Well, there was a guy actually the other week at one of the things at the center, and he was saying how, and I played Enya because it's awesome. And he goes, I love Enya. And I go, yeah, everyone loves Enya. They're not leaving. But he was saying his parents live in Ireland. Is it Ireland or Wales or something? And they live a few miles away from their closest neighbor is Enya. And she lives in a fucking castle. There you go. Fijis, I don't care. Find that band and kill them. Yeah, I've always wanted to do a DJ set. I did do a DJ set with a modular system. I don't think the audience appreciated it very much, but I was kind of sending stuff and fucking with it and and I thought it was fun. But I think and the other DJ I was on tour went, dude, I love what you're fucking doing. And I went, oh, thanks. And he did mean it. He wasn't just saying that either. I feel, Alex, I see your hand.
Yeah, I think if you want to deviate from the norm as a DJ, you need to advertise yourself as someone wacky or something out of the ordinary. Otherwise, your audience will riot.
They probably won't riot. They'll just kind of like look at their phone. Oh, looking at your phone. It's a difficult thing. How do we, I don't know. Look, I just don't know. It's too complicated. I feel we're running out of conversation here. Was there anybody who wanted to bring up something super interesting that wasn't something in like tax? No, we're gonna call it. We're gonna say today is done. Goodbye today, and we're gonna go and deal with our crazy cats. Yes, Frank, I was talking about you. Did you notice as soon as I say it, it's like, yeah, Frank knows what fucking time it is. Okay, so we don't want to talk about anything else. We're going to call this. That's right, Frank. We're going to call it. You can hear him, can't you? Come here, Frank, and yell at me. Yell as loud as you can. My God. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for being part of today. It was really, really fun, really positive. I'm really grateful. Please remember, every Saturday morning right here, we're doing Art of Rock. Join us on the Twitch or on Angelspit's YouTube. Follow those things. It's fun. We are really trying to help you make your music and help you keep going because, man, I'm telling you, there's a lot of neurological exhaustion going on right now. This is made possible with Angelspit's Patreon. If you're feeling generous, $3 a month, and you're really going to help me. There's higher shields as well, but you can or don't have to worry about. There's a really fun Facebook group called Sounds and Shadows. Feel free to jump on and be part of that because there's a lot of people with makeup talking about music. Oh, they're talking about music. Ice Planet 9000's new album is out. Go check it out. It's fucking epic. The live tracks I'm playing, incidentally, are from the album that's coming out in March. Bum, 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 because they were all based on this stuff. Anyway, this live show that I keep crapping on about is there. Wait, did I do that right? I didn't do that right. Oh, the internet's dying on me. Somewhere Cold, which is a record label that I might get signed to. An auto dealer who are in LA who are brilliant. We're doing it at the LGBTQ Center, and it's at a small theater. It's only got like a 50-person capacity. It's 5.1 audio. My God, the setup in that room is so good. It's really good, and there's lots of projections, lots of lights. This is going to be cool. Please think about going to that because you're going to help us out. The Industrial Incisions playlist, you need to know about it. Find one of those bands, like one of those bands, and follow everything they do, and it will be fantastic. I need you to do that. I need you to do that. For nonstop music from the Bleeding Edge, it's MTV TV, now and always. I want you to go. We're actually going to raid there very, 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 very shortly. And it's bloody awesome. They've got if you want to get your music played, just email them and they'll tell you how to do it. And they've got a Patreon. Support them. Keep them going. Is anybody listening to what the incredibly important shit I'm saying right now? Gee, who knows? And Razi, who wasn't here today, but he's my host, and he's bloody fantastic. Go like his stuff. Hey, Diana, we're going to raid. Can we make a raid happen? We're going to now raid to MTV TV. Here is the link. Boom, link. And to everybody on Instagram, there's that, although my Instagram has crashed. Screw them. Thank you for that raid. Fantasticness. And thanks for joining us. This was really good fun. And let me know when that has done the raid. Let me know when it has done the raid. Right. We just raided on over. So thank you all. I'm going to close this down.